Making sure we protect about threats. So moving over to that right hand side, and limiting, exposure to threats for resources that we have, within our environment as well. So making sure we understand malware. So making sure malware agents are deployed on our assets. It's a really easy, quick win. Let's make sure that that we are protecting the attack surface of our assets that could be exposed. Let's help them along the way by understanding malware and what potential threats there could be. Looking at behavioral movements, behavioral and analytics of that behavior. So what does normal look like for this service or for this server? When things aren't acting normal, that's probably a sign that something has gone awry, that something isn't quite happening the way it should have happened, or you've introduced a change. Fine, it's a false positive, but at least you know about it. But understanding when things aren't acting as normal is needs to be highlighted, and you need to be able to identify that as well. And looking at some of the more kind of stringent governance factors, things like application whitelisting, so where you sign the code that you're happy with, and if that code changes through maybe introduction of malware, maybe malware has got through, or there's some malicious code that has gained access to your application somehow, being able to sign the applications and whitelist them will mean only the versions that you approve are being able to be executed, whereas the malicious code potentially could be blocked because it's not the same version that you've signed there. So hopefully understanding how you can try and help your servers protect themselves by doing some common things. Obviously things like app whitelisting, it becomes an overhead to your organization, so it's understanding whether or not that risk provides a great value to your organization, and whether or not you as an application, you as an operational practice are able to deliver that on a continual basis. So when requests come in for new applications or updates, have you got that framework in the back end to make sure that you're able to update the whitelisting and understand what that means? Protecting against threats within a non-VM environment. So like we said earlier, it's lovely when you've got kernel access, you can access disks, you've got you can interact with the operating system, but more and more as we're moving to a platform model, we haven't got access to that. So luckily, all of these components that are natively deployed within the Azure environment have agents, security center agents, these VMSS agents that can protect the instance itself, and report components into the instance itself. So your web app, you want to know who's accessing it, where it's accessing it, are they hardened with security? Your websites, yes, they are, brilliant. Okay, well that will be reported into Security Center for you. Same containers, the same metrics that you'd want to be looking at are able to be derived from agents that are delivered via VMSS. Looking at data as well in the same manner. So platform services is all well and good, or applications, where you have workloads doing tasks, user interaction or application tasks, where data is stored or processed. Is probably an area that you need to demonstrate compliance to certain governance frameworks more than anything. GDPR, for example. So it's a fundamental compliance baseline that everyone within the UK, Europe has to abide by. So making sure we can demonstrate that we are protecting data, that we are custodians of. It's massively important to every organisation. So being able to demonstrate and report that through to Azure Security Center is really useful. But also the last point there on the left, you can see there, being able to classify and label data can be very useful for where you're working with healthcare. Maybe it's patient identifiable data, or vulnerable data for government, or maybe it's the KFC special recipes. You want to keep that under lock and key, you don't want that being exposed. So making sure that you're able to understand and label data and classify data, which will then allow you to triage and operate that data at different levels and enforce different policies. So my KFC special source, I don't want that going anywhere, so therefore I can classify that as super top secret, and I can label that as, yeah, don't go anywhere. And I can build policies around that to make sure that no one steals my secret recipes.